Hurricane season officially begins June 1st and runs all the way through the end of November. And although we don't have any named storms yet, that first storm could not be far away. So here's kind of what you need to know moving forward about hurricane season. First, when does it peak? Well, although it starts in June, hurricane season peaks around September 10th. That's based on all this data from 100 years of the frequency or number of named storms and hurricanes that we've seen. Now you can see these bars on this graph getting much higher as we get towards late August through September, even into October. That's when we see the most activity for the Atlantic Ocean basin. This does not include the Pacific, which does have its first named storm of the season. What about the Atlantic Ocean? What are we expecting in the ocean basin for activity? Well, the NOAA Hurricane Outlook, which came out May 22nd, includes a 60% chance of an above normal season, a 30% chance of a near normal season, and a 10% chance of below normal activity. The last season we had below normal activity for that forecast before the season was back in 2015, so it's been a full decade since that. Here's their official forecast. They're predicting 13 to 19 named storms. That's a little bit above what's considered our average, which is 30 years of data from 1991 to 2020. They forecast 6 to 10 of those named storms reaching hurricane status. The average is 7, so generally near or just above average, and 3 to 5 storms becoming major hurricanes. And one of those contributors to major hurricanes in the forecast is, of course, how warm are the waters and what's the wind shear going to be. And this year we don't have an El Nino, which can bring more wind shear and cut down tropical storm and hurricane growth and formation in the first place. So they do believe that we'll be talking about more rapid intensification, which leads to all of those Category 5 hurricane strikes. Believe it or not, all of those 3 days before landfall, 72 hours before landfall, were just tropical storms or less. So rapid intensification, one of those things that we keep our eyes on very closely. Now in June, where do we see systems generally developing? Well, June's a little different from other months. We typically see a lot of our development through the Western Caribbean and into the Gulf of Mexico. Often we can see these storms that just kind of spin up along the back edge of a cold front. So the area in blue here shows you where we can see development likely, where it happens sometimes in June. Sometimes we can see them in the Western Gulf with kind of that Central American gyre. Sometimes we can see them in the Eastern Gulf as a cold front slides in and it kind of just spins up as it hits that warmer water in the Gulf. And also sometimes across the Carolinas. You can see these arrows on the map showing where some of those storm tracks tend to be based on larger weather features in the atmosphere. The green box, the green shaded polygon right here, is where development is even more likely in the month of June. So when are we going to see our first named storm? Well, we don't know quite yet, but when it does happen, this is the list of names. Again, this list is cycled every 6 years, and they will choose to retire names if they've caused significant destruction to life and property. With this particular list, the last year it was used was back in 2019. That year it was Dorian. That was the only name that they decided to retire. So Dexter is a new name on this list, but 6 years ago we did have an Andrea, and that will be the first name. Then we go to Barry, Chantal, Dexter, Aaron, Fernand, and Gabriel, and so on and so forth. The most common retired name based on history is the I name. This year that storm is Imelda.